This session is Kristjan Freyr Kristjánsson from Nordic Innovation.
I'm just connecting the computer to give me 2 seconds before I can start. A sec here. Like this and some audio here. So I think you need to switch the screen up above. So before I start, my name is Kristjansson, and I am the CEO of a company called Nordic Marine Innovation. Maybe for people here in here that don't know, these two companies, they just merged into one for about a month ago. So in this project, Innovit Entrepreneurship Center was the one responsible for after the merger. I'm counting with both of them here. Now, just before I start, I just want to get a hands up. How many people in here have actually been on a fishing boat? Just to see. Okay, that's almost, maybe 80%. 80%, well, that's good to see. When we ask the students the same question, we don't get that many hands up in the air. So it's good to see a difference. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the project, but I also want to talk to you about how the project started and how it all worked out. One of our final outputs in this thing was a video that we would like to spread out as much as possible. I'll be showing you bits and pieces out of the video that we made from the project itself, but also there will be a small teaser created that will come out in a few days or weeks. Now, just to tell you a little bit about the project and what we did, we took 18 students. We went to the Faroe Islands. All these students were from the Nordics, so it's about 3 students from each country: Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and the Faroe Islands, and Faroe students. We brought them over to the Faroe Islands, and we presented them with a problem within the fishing industry and wanted them to work out, to find solutions to those problems within a matter of a few days, about 1 week. So I'm going to show you just the starting of one of the videos. It's about 2-3 videos in the whole clip, so bear with me here. So there's some audio that should take place right now and how the whole thing kicked off. So it should start in about 2 seconds. Yeah.
I think with all the current challenges in the marine industry, the Nordic region has to stick together and try to come together with some innovative ideas to take stand above the competition, the global competition. We are fishing in the same fishing grounds, and we need to come up with some innovative ideas some new ideas in how we can innovate in the fishing industry. Platform like this, where we are using students, we believe that students that don't know the industry as well as professionals within the industry, they are more likely to come up with creative ideas. There has been several companies trying to solve the issue of traceability, but as he was telling you yesterday, they have been tracing the fish from when he's caught and until he's in the store. But the process is difficult, it's expensive, so they're not currently carrying it forward. So guys, this is really the challenge. From now on, you have 32 hours to place yourself in the value chain and come up with an innovative idea on how to create value with the problem of traceability.
Now, I'll show you the results of that in a few seconds, but first of all, I just want to go through why we were doing that, why we thought that was a smart thing to do, to work with the students. And I want to go back just a few seconds on maybe our background and what we've been doing for the past years. We're working with startups in Iceland, pretty much helping them to go up new steps, create new businesses, and strengthen the business that they do in current businesses in Iceland. Everything from the startup until they hopefully become a Fortune 500 companies, or at least go up that ladder. And we do a variety of different projects. We do everything from idea competitions here in Iceland, partner up with some of the world's best projects out there. They're hosted in dozens to 100 countries all over. we've pretty much traveled all over the world, everything from China to Brazil, to find out which are the ones that work the best. We then try them out, either in Iceland or in the Nordics, and keep the ones going that have been working the best. We do that by cooperating with about 60 or 70 companies in Iceland. When we're a nonprofit, we're owned by the universities in Iceland, Union of Industries, and new venture fund and private companies. And through these events, and it really comes down to the question that I'm going to talk to you about the project in a second. We've had about $15 million invested in some of the companies coming out of these projects. Some of them, as you might know, some of them not. Most of them are business-to-business oriented. Some of them in the marine industry and some of them not. And in some of these projects, especially this one here, one called Startup Weekend. I don't know how many people in here have ever heard about Startup Weekend. Maybe, okay, roughly half of them. There will be, in 2013, estimated about 800 to 1,000 Startup Weekends hosted all over the world. We've done 10 in Iceland so far, but we've also done a few abroad, China, Brazil, Denmark. We kicked off the first one that was done in Iran, in Tehran. And just a small video from there. And in these events, people show up at a Friday, they pitch their idea and try to go as far as they can with those ideas over a period of 48 hours. So we use the methods from the events and from the things that we've been doing so far, and all these events, variety of different events all over the world, from Iran to Brazil, and we try to use them in the marine industry. Because when we talk to students in the marine industry and we're asking them about what they thought that the typical job would be, they imagined it to be to go on a boat and work by cutting the fish. They didn't really think about the new methods, the new innovations, the new types of things that you could do with that, or even just the tremendous innovations that have been occurring in the industry for the past few years. So with that experience, we wanted to try new things. Other projects that we've been working on here, I just want to go through this just to give you a little bit idea of our background. We have a business accelerator where we invest in companies. It's about $16,000 in 10 companies. We're doing that for the second year now, and we try to push them as far as we can in 10 weeks, giving them access to mentors, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a lot of tools, a lot of experience in these events. Everything from inspirational events like TEDx that we hosted 2 days ago with about 200 people showing up at the full event, into hosting Global Entrepreneurship Week in Iceland and other countries, into doing other things that are meaningful for the teams. This one, for example, we hosted at HB Grandi here in Iceland, where we invited a bunch of entrepreneurial teams, some from the marine sector, and some from businesses in Iceland, where they just show up, talk together, share their ideas, and maybe they can find a way to work together. So a lot of these things are things that we've been working on for the past years that gave us the experience to create the NIMMP project. And the NIMMP project is really about solving that problem, to get more people involved in the marine industry, really get more excited about some of the things that we can do there, because we personally believe that there are tremendous opportunities in that industry. And I think one of the biggest obstacles that we need to overcome is to make it more attractive to students. So the project's overall goal is very simple. We want to market it in a better way, make it more attractable to young people, so that they might think that they have a career path in the marine industry. And we did that by doing two things. Of course, we created a boot camp where we got the students to work in a very similar way as you would with any other tech company in the world, which is really the hot thing right now. A lot of people that are thinking about a new career path, creating their own startups or businesses, they think about these, becoming the next Facebook or Instagram or whatever stories out there. But we wanted them to look into further industries, and especially the marine one, when we think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done there in order to encourage that. And I think that by doing the boot camp as the first thing, we might encourage them in seeing the light in the industry and some of the really interesting things that have been occurring there with modern tools. And the second is creating these two videos that we hope that can be distributed anywhere. So if there's anyone in the room here that would like to use these videos in wherever operations they have, then we'd be more than welcome to. I know that I'll be working with Thor a little bit in doing that. So I want to show you a small piece of that. So this is the piece of the boot camp, and I'll get a little bit into more detail on what we exactly did there and showed them. So here you can see the NIMMP boot camp in the Freyrs, November last 2012.
studio, I can't see you. Try to find. I said the tall ones in the back.
Gives you an idea what happened there. And just to give you an idea of what the tools that we use, we really want them to think about where they start and where they end and what they're doing in between. We teach them about how they think if they are product managers or if they're project management overall and how that will work. All the tools that they might use. There are organizational tools and planning tools that they can use all over the web that some of the modern companies are using right now, something that could easily be applied to the industry. We teach them about things like, I don't know, you probably heard about the business model canvas that's being used in a variety of different places with Alexander Osterwalder explaining how you can use new models. Recently in Iceland, they filled up a crowd of 1,000 people going to a lecture. People thinking about how that could be applied and used for the marine industry is tremendously interesting. About lean methodologies, how people can try out new methods before they're even created, using sketches on things that could be made in the industry, and testing out if they're actually something that could work out there by asking people about some of the opinions that they have. And I'm doing this very fast because I just want to give you an idea of what happened there. Other things, we teach them, working methodologies. When people come in together, how they work, how they build up, for example, a Scrum system where people show up in the morning for meetings, have a timed limit to go over what's going to be happening throughout the day, and only for 50 minutes each morning, how they would work on the project. And throughout the boot camp, this is what we did. We had a countdown in pretty much every single thing that we did to make pressure on the students, to make them come up with solutions within a time frame. And about how the Scrum worked. They put up walls where each and every name of person that's out there, the lists that are about to be done, the list of things that people are working on, and list of things that people actually finished, so that they managed to finish all the tasks at hand using models of some of the things that other companies, inspiring companies, have been using. And just, we gave them all sorts of rules to work with, everything from when they're making decisions, timers, how they use that Scrum table, how they brain dump ideas, how they actually talk together, how they can use these tools and methods into solving the problems that are at hand. Urban meeting rules that are used at some of the hot companies out there that people work on. And another thing, we went over the tools, we taught them how they actually work, everything from Basecamp into some larger companies that work well in other countries, from Podio, which you probably know from Denmark, one of the hot startups there was sold, and how these types of different things can be used into explaining how it works with the marine industry. So this is the things that we did there. So throughout that boot camp, they didn't only, go there and work with your marine industry. They actually used some of the hot tools, hot things that are out there, which could definitely make them more inspired in working more within the industry and how these usage of tools and different types of thinking can be applied there. We also had a big focus in looking into more diverses of educational aspects. So it's not only people that are educated in the marine industry, it's also designers, it's also programmers, it's also business people that can actually go out there, think of new models, take a look at what's happening in the industry now, other opportunities, and really work with those in those models, some of the very attractable systems that are out there. So this was the idea with the whole project, and I think I gave you a short idea of what happened through the boot camp. What will happen next is that anybody can go up to the website, NIMMP.org, if they are either a person that's interested in becoming involved in the industry, either as a student or a person that would like to support some of the initiatives, either by getting boot camps of their own to the places that they have. And we want this to go as spread out as possible. It's not a ownership thing for us. We want the videos to go out. We want the website to go out. And every single thing that will come in there, we'll try to connect that with people that are working heavily in the industry and have those connections. People like Thor, who have a lot of interesting partners here in Iceland. And when those students come asking for things, they want to be participating, they want to attend to those events. Or even other players that want to be more involved in the networks that are being built here in the Nordics, then we want to be able to connect these people. So the website's up. Anybody that will see these videos, will see the NIMMP logo, will see the final website, they can go out there and we can link it together. So that was the whole idea with the project, and we're very proud of the final results. So
the main goal with NIMMP was mainly twofold. It was
video.
to create a platform for students to get to know the industry and make the fishing industry, an exciting platform to work in the future. and also to come up with some innovative ideas to solve challenges that are current within the industry. And I really believe that we were successful in both those goals. Those students are going from the Faroe Islands very, very happy with both the work they have done, and I really believe they learned a lot. And they now see the fishing industry as a high-tech industry, not as an old industry, and therefore they are excited to maybe work in that industry in the future.
And I think it's important as a final note before we can take questions and talk, is that, not to mention the value that just getting the Nordics to work together, to go to a mutual place, work in an intense environment for some period of time, that will lead to, if those people will start working more in the industry, they will think about partners in different countries. They will talk to those partners and wonder on the things they can work on. So doing more mutual things like Thor talked about, and working in different places in different countries when trying out with new projects, I think that could also lead to new opportunities between and further cooperation. So that was the whole idea. I hope you liked the video and the whole thing. Welcome you to check out the NIMMP.org website, and thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristjan. We have time for questions or comments. We have time for questions and comments. If somebody have? Getting tired? No. Please.
My name is Hilda, I come from Matis. Can you tell us, I bet the audience here is very curious to know about the actual results in the bootcamp.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. So the actual results from the boot camp, what happened is that the teams themselves, they came up with a variety of, so we changed them up into different teams, blue, green, red, and they had a pitch in the end on what they thought would be the best result to kind of pitch there. To be very honest, I wouldn't necessarily say that the results that they came with is going to be an actual solution to the market. They came up with everything from how we use different traceability methods on the ocean when we actually, catch the fish, and how it's packaged in different varieties of how we measure it. Most of them found out later on that many of these methods already exist. But I think that the learning process of just going through that and how they could brainstorm on it and how they can actually figure out what existed on the market and what didn't was great value for them. So I wouldn't say that we were looking at new amazing businesses being created in the Faroe Islands from these students, but I think that the process and the thinking process that went through was very inspirational and good for them. So yeah, that's the question. I think that's the answer. Okay, sorry.
That means we are still the specialists in the fish industry, not the students. Please, Gisli.
Promote sustainable seafood, because obviously seafood you are selling and sustainability is a big issue in the seafood industry today. So I think can you say so? I was just wondering if a part of your project as an innovative fish campus is that the fish campus and the Nordic fish campus promote seafood from sustainable sources.
Could everybody hear the question? No. I was asked if we, during the project, worked with ideas of promoting sustainable caught seafood, right? We discussed it at several meetings, but we have some difficulties concerning the type of certification brands that exist at the moment. Because one of the key issues for the fishmongers is quality. And existing brands or certification methods include quality. That's one of the reasons why we didn't continue working with the existing certification methods. But we discussed what could be an innovative fish counter, and ended somehow at a point where it could be the next innovative step to make the fish counter tell a story. So what type of story is Fish Counters going to tell for the future? Is it sustainability? Is it exotic? Is it easy to work with? Is it what is it? Because many fish counters today are just focusing on huge variety and quality. But could they take next level and make a history on top of that? That would be great. But we didn't have the funding to actually experiment in real life with the ideas. Was it enough? Yeah.
Do we have more questions? In the back, please.
Yeah, this is a question to Kristjan. Are you thinking about maybe expanding what you've done and turning it into a recurring program? Because it kind of follows the recipe that they use very successfully at Stanford BioX and some of those programs.
I-
The industry actually can challenge your students to solve real life problems.
We would definitely be interested in doing something like that. If there, and that's, I think the website itself, NIMMP.org, has showed us, like, people can see that there, what we did with the workshop. I think there are different opportunities there. I think that for those that would like to have a workshop put up for actual problems in the industry that the industry comes up with, and that's actually some of the problems that we presented with the students through workshop before. I think that we could either do it by putting up a workshop that we could host and try to get the industry involved, but we could also use different types of workshops that are out there that are already being run by organizations like Startup Weekend, like others that would be focused on that industry. We have linkage to both channels, so I think that as long as there's willingness from the industry itself to create it, and I think that's very important, that the interest itself comes from the people in the area to build it up, then we'd be more than happy to either link it to some of the best events out there and workshops that are there, or we could personally come over and do something about it. So both is an option, and the site is a platform for some of those things to happen. And just to clarify that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a thing that we do personally. Like, it's fine for us if we can just link it through the network. So if it's not a workshop that we come over and host, if it's something that Thor can help with, or somebody else in different projects here that are involved, then we'd like just to be a linkage mediary in between. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. Okay.
More questions? We are just on time, so we will make 30 minutes coffee break and give the speakers applause. Thank you.